Hello, my name is Kai, and I am a bit of a rambler. I like to travel, learn, and tell stories. And today, I'm going to ramble on about stuff that went on this week. Something that was funny, I was playing on my phone, scrolling through Lemmy or some such, and an ad popped up, as they always do, but this time it was for Uchukuta, which I've never seen before, never heard about before until I landed in Cusco. And it just looked so good, and then it tasted so good. It's a cream sauce made from ricotta peppers and some spices, and probably mayo or something, I don't really know. But ricotta pepper sauce, cream sauces are very popular here in Peru, especially in Cusco, because all the peppers are up from the mountains. And I became hooked on this uchucuta sauce. I ate it. It tastes great on meat. It tastes great on vegetables, like in a salad. It tastes great on French fries. It's way better than like ketchup or special sauce mustard, whatever. It's such a great sauce for everything. And I kind of got obsessed with it for especially the first couple of weeks. I was just like, well, I'll just eat this on everything. And I did. And now I eat it on a lot of things, but like at a reasonable pace instead of just constantly like a insane person. And, it's so good, but I eat it normally now, and then it just popped up an advertisement for it, and I just, cheek on my fist, elbow on table, just like watched them pour it over some French fries, and I was like, yep, that's exactly what it's for. I was just excited to see the advertisement. And then I saw it 20 more times because I'm in Cusco, of course. Oh, I'm glad I started to do this podcast. I think it just started to rain outside. That's fun. Ooh, the rain's telling me goodbye. That's cool. Okay, Uchucuta's fantastic. I had mango after a big hike. There's this dried fruit store, and mango is probably still my favorite dried fruit. And so after I went on this huge hike for 8 hours, I walked down to my dried fruit store and just stopped in. And they had mango, which they didn't have last week, and I bought a whole bunch of it, and I just walked around the city for quite a while after I got back. I didn't go straight home after the 8-hour hike. I just marched around the city eating dried mango and feeling great, because walking for really long periods like that always makes me feel great. You know what? I was going to talk about that hike, but it's going to take more than this whole episode, so I'm just going to make that a separate episode called Waka Kauri. I believe Huacacauri. Or maybe I'll just call it mountain near Cusco. I don't know. But that hike, I'll briefly say, was very awesome. It was 8-something hours. I did get sunburned, but it was so worth it. I passed by this like Narnia idyllic town on the way. I went up several thousand feet in elevation. The mountains were cool. Everything was amazing about that hike. So if the Cusco hike is up yet, I suggest you go check it out. It probably won't be, but look forward to the Wakakauri episode. It's about me walking for 8 hours. Pretty exciting. Okay. Let's move on. My stuff sack broke from my jacket, which is a bummer. If you don't know, stuff sacks are tiny pouches that you can pack like a puffer jacket that's really big and bulky. You can pack that into as small area as possible and then pack more efficiently that way. I make all of my own stuff sacks or pack sacks, and I always make them from leftover shirts or material, or the best material, umbrella nylon. It's very, very strong, even when you sew through it. It's usually ripstop. It's hydrophobic. It's just a perfect material, super lightweight, very easy to craft with. And so I found a umbrella on the side of the road here in Cusco a little while ago when I needed to make a pocket, something. And I used it, but I had all this umbrella material left over, fabric left over. And that's great. So I've just been trying to think of what I can use it for. And I've used a bunch of things. I've made 2 pockets for my day pack now. I've made a new holder for my water bottle. What else? Well, anyway, now I made a pack sack. because my jacket pack sack broke. I tried to close it. It ripped. And I was like, wow, this is great timing because I have all this cool umbrella material. And I made one. And I made it a little too small the first time, so I had to make a second one. And it's the perfect size. It crams my jacket down very small. It's just, it feels like a little too small because I don't want to work hard to pack the jacket inside. But it'll certainly work for now, and I can always make another one some other time if I want to. But I'm glad I have the pack sack for now. And it turned out very nice. I'm pretty good at them after making them for so long, and now my jacket will pack down easier, which will be good because I'm going to hot locations in the near future, so I won't be wearing my jacket like I have been for the past few months. Or several months before here I was in Columbia. Yeah, Columbia wasn't that cold. It's only at Denver level. Up here at 13,000 feet or whatever, I do use my jacket every other day. So very happy to got a little craft project to work on the pack sacks, and then I made them and they look cool. Okay, Triangulo chocolate. There's this brownie at a store that I'm going back to today to get some vegetables and papas picantes, spicy potato chips. There's this brownie. Well, there's one brownie I really like called Mr. Brownie, and then there's this other one that's fine and not great. But the weirdest thing about this other brownie is that the only difference I can see, they have 3 flavors, but the only difference between the flavors is the shape of the chocolate that they put on top of the brownie. So I don't think the brownies are any different, except there's a white package, a blue package, and a red package. And I asked the lady, like, hey, what's the difference between these packages? And she was like, este chocolate es triángulo. And I was like, triángulo? And she pointed, and it says triángulo on the wrapper, which means triangle. And I was like, well, but what's the difference between these two? And she was like, well, that one's triángulo. And I was like, okay. So I got it, and I ate it, and I can't tell any difference between the two, except that this one has triangles on top of it, and this one has tiny squares of chocolate on top of it. But it's just a standard crappy processed brownie, pretty good, with chocolate on top, just in different shapes. And there's a third one that's like points. I don't know. I found that very odd that they would have such big distinguishing packages and wrapping for this same brownie, but the chocolate is in a different shape. Weird. Anyway, they ran out of the brownies I do like, Mr. Brownie, because I bought them all at the one store. I bought one like every few days, maybe. A couple times once a day. But they just, they ran out, and then they haven't restocked, and no other supermarkets have them, which is a bummer. But I'm sure it was incredibly unhealthy for me, and I was eating a lot of them because they were so good, so maybe it's a good thing they ran out. Star Wars. I've been making a lot of parody Star Wars t-shirts lately. So there's Luke Skinwalker and Princess Leia organ, just like a ton of organs everywhere. And a new one's up that I really like called Bright Saber instead of Lightsaber. And his whole lightsaber, he's swinging it against a stormtrooper, and it just completely explodes and breaks apart because it's just a whole bunch of like little light bulbs. I don't know if you know the Light Bright toy, but I thought that was funny, and so I made a t-shirt of it. I've made a lot of these Star Wars parody designs lately, and I really like them. That's the whole story. I've been having a ton of fun making them, getting some creative outlet going, and it's been a great time. No one is buying the shirts, of course, because, one, I don't ever want to advertise anything. It just doesn't seem worth it, because I don't need money, so anytime I spend advertising, it just doesn't seem that fun or worth it to me. But if someone does buy any of those shirts, if someone buys one of those Star Wars shirts one day, I'm going to feel so validated. Ooh, you know what? I really like Leia Arcana too. Arcane Arcana. And she's like a witch and she has all these occult symbols on her face and there's lightning crackling from her eye. I really like that one. I might get that one. I've still been getting a bunch of picarones. It is a lot of sugar, so I don't get them every day anymore because the picarones are deep fried. They don't have a ton of oil like dripping off them, but they are deep fried. And then it comes with chicha morada, which is like a purple corn drink that is so good and mixed with fruits and sugar. And then with the picarones, you put some honey on your plate and then dip it in the honey. So it's like sugar, deep fried donut. Yeah, it's like a donut, but not as thick, not as doughy, not as thick and not as bready. It's just like a sweet potato. It's a ring of sweet potato flour, very stretchy and tasty. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm going to get it again today because I'm talking about it now. Dang it. I got hooked on them. And one day I actually went and got 2 in a day, which is crazy because that is just the chicha morada and the amount of honey I eat, which is not a ton compared to what I see other people eating with the picarones. Just that is like probably 2 or 3 days worth of my sugar. Oh, except the other problem is I've been drinking this crappy Coke simulacrum lately that is not delicious, but I drink it when I have a sandwich or something. And then I start drinking 2 bottles a day and I just feel it not being healthy. I feel it bleh in my insides and like my face gets red and I don't know if that's inflammation or what, but I stopped getting that Coke thing and I felt better. And then I got 1 yesterday just to check. And I instantly was like, ugh. And so I'm just not going to get that anymore. It's convenient because it's like 25 cents or something. And it doesn't taste bad. It tastes great with salty food and sandwiches and all that. But I don't think it's very healthy. I think it's very unhealthy, actually. It says it has half the amount of sugar that Coke does. And I can't even drink regular Coca-Cola. But I think this KR Cola still has too much sugar for me because I just don't drink soda anymore. I do eat sugar in the form of picarones and honey, and I do drink chicha. But I would happily just have chicha instead of that soda. I met a cool punk girl, and she shared a song that her band is working on, and I was kind of rocking out to it. I gave her some honest notes when she asked me what I honestly thought about it. And then I was like, did I need to be honest? I don't know if she was actually looking for criticism, but I wanted to tell her I grew up with punk bands and I see a lot of them live. And she was just asking, like, how does it feel like as a punk band? And I was like, I think you should throw yourself into a couple of the lyrics a little bit more, just because the music was so energetic and pushing forward, and I feel like sometimes her voice wasn't making itself heard. But this was also a demo, so it wasn't completely produced. And I don't even play music and sing in a band, so maybe I should shut up. But I told her that, and she accepted the notes with grace, and that was cool. It was a pretty good song. I kind of want to listen to the rest of the album when it comes out. I got a new dog whacking stick, or dog stick, as I'm thinking of changing the name to, because I feel like dog whacking stick sort of upsets people, so maybe I'll just say dog stick from now on. It's for whacking dogs that get too close when you are exploring the rural areas of a country by yourself. Because dogs or packs of dogs can be aggressive outside of cities and towns. And I got bit, and so now I'm carrying around a stick again. And now I'm not getting bit at all. It's a good plan. Especially like early morning, 4 a.m. or something, like when I went on that huge hike I mentioned. When there's less people around and the sun is not out, rural dogs get pretty aggressive, so it's always worth carrying around a stick. Dogs think anything you carry in your hand is part of your arm, and they're like, whoa, that arm's way too long, and they get freaked out. So just carry around a stick. You don't have to hit them. Like, they stay away if you're carrying a stick with you. So even if you're hiking, a hiking stick works fine. I just call it a dog whacking stick because in Thailand, I was attacked by a pack, like a big pack, like a dozen dogs, and they were straight up trying to bite me, and I had to actually whack the dogs. So that's why I always called it a dog whacking stick instead of a dog stick. But at this point, it works much more often as a deterrent. You almost never have to actually hit a dog. So dog stick. I have a new dog stick. I was looking around for one, and then I realized in my apartment on top of the washing machine, there was a 40-centimeter stick from like mango picker, but it was just the stick, just lying there, kind of discarded. And I was like, that's perfect. That slips into my jacket, and I can just take it out. And if a dog comes up, I just pull it on my jacket, and then I have it ready. And it has saved me many times in Cusco because there's an absurd amount of stray dogs. This is not a huge city, and there are 11,000 stray dogs at last count, just going around in packs in the city all the time. And if I go hiking, I like to go in the really early morning, where I said they're more aggressive. So good to carry a dog stick with you if you want to hike solo outside of cities and towns, especially in the wee hours of the night. I got a new hat. And then I got a new hat. I got a new hat that has that flap that falls down the back, the neck coverlet. And so it's only half a hat. And I like that because it'll pack down smaller than my full-brimmed hat. But here, when I went to that Waka Kauri, my nose got burned with the hat I've been using the past couple of years. The brim has never been wide enough for me. So, yeah, that hasn't been a real problem. It's kind of been a pain, but I never found another hat that I really liked. And then I went on this Waka Kauri hike, and my face and my neck got burnt up, and it was terrible. So I was like, you know what? It's time. Just get a wide-brimmed hat. You're in Cusco, which is like the highest ultraviolet in the world almost, and everybody here wears sun hats, so there's probably a good selection of hats, and there were. I found a great sun hat with, like I said, the neck cover, and it's only half the brim on the front, right away. And I was like, this is perfect, and I negotiated, and I got my new hat, and I was like, heck yeah, and I was really excited about it. And then I was walking around, and it hadn't even rained yet. It was still sunny, but I was like, oh, wait, that's why I don't get these hats. I got one before, like 10 years ago in Vietnam somewhere, but I remembered when it rained, the rain, instead of falling off the brim of the hat, just falls straight down the neck cover and soaks your back. And I was like, oh, darn it, because I had fun negotiating with the lady for a cheaper price. It was like $4 or something. And, but then I was like, oh, this is not my permanent hat, which I was hoping it would be because it packs down easy and nice material. But there's no way that once I'm walking around in rain, which I love to do, I'm going to enjoy having rain just soaking my back, the whole back of my body. And then it rained like the next day and it soaked the back of my body. And I was like, okay. And so I started looking around, and this one lady had a very nice hat. It wasn't perfect. It didn't quite fit, but it was pretty good. The brim wasn't quite wide enough, but it was pretty good. It was better than my old one anyway, my old full-brimmed hat, and it was better than this half-brimmed hat because it would stop the rain from falling down my back. And I tried to negotiate with her, and I got her down to 20 soles, which is still like $6, $6.50, and it's just not. It wasn't a perfect hat, and all the other hats were cheaper. They were $4. And I wasn't feeling it, so I didn't get it. And I went back again. That's when she went down to 20 soles, but that wasn't cheap enough for me because I know they're getting these hats for like 5 soles maximum from China anyway. And this hat wasn't perfect. So I ate crow. I went back to the lady I bought the half-brimmed hat from because I was like, I wonder if she has the kind of hat. And then I found the perfect hat. That same lady pulled out a box, and none of them were perfect. And then there were two hats, and I was like, ooh, they both had side vents. They both were the same very light nylon material, but they had stiff brims and full brims all the way around, as wide as I want, but not too wide. So they would protect everything, but not look like crazy. Like they wouldn't, if I wore this hat on an airplane, people would be like, oh, that's a sun hat. But if I wore anything bigger, they'd be like, oh, this is an insane person. Why does he have a hat that looks that crazy, that is that large? So it was the perfect hat. I negotiated it down to 15 again, which this time, the second time, I was just like, so 12 looks good. And she was like, 18. And I was like, cool, 15. And then I just gave her 15. Like there was no dancing around negotiating this time. We both laughed about how we started exactly 3 away from where we knew we were ending at, because I already bought a 15 hat. And I'm very happy with my new hat now. This is a permanent hat for sure. I'm going to have this hat for as long as it lasts. And I don't know how long that'll be, but I've already put on a new paracord pull string so it attaches better and it fits me great. It's a good hat. It has those side vents. I like everything about this new hat. There were 2 colors. There was a bright white one, and I was like, well, if I'm going to put stuff on it, then the white will look better than this olive green. But the olive green just looks cool. So hopefully I don't lose this hat, because I think it'll be a long time before I find one this good again. This is it really matches my drab personality. Drab, protective personality. Very excited about my new hat. You might be able to tell. So I got a new hat. I've already used it on a couple hikes. It has been great. It's great having enough brim like I think I need and being able to tilt the hat to block more sun. It's just a great hat. Shoot, you know what? I just remembered I was going to climb Peak Hole, and today would have been the perfect day for it, and I totally forgot. Oh, I already climbed it once. I'll see how I feel tomorrow. But tomorrow is my last day? Yeah, my last full day in Cusco. And then I'm off to Lima to explore the Peruvian coast. I hear ceviche is better down there, and maybe most ceviche restaurants will be, but the sauce at my favorite... Oh my gosh, I should have got ceviche today. Oh, you goofball. Oh, I should go there and get ceviche. I'll get ceviche after this if they're still open. Shoot, I don't know if they will be. Man, my favorite ceviche spot here is best ceviche sauce I have ever had. Maybe not the best fish, but the best fish I've had in Cusco and the best sauce, no doubt, I've ever had anywhere. Their ceviche sauce is killer. It's perfect. I think I talked about it before. I improved my sun sleeves. I added a second button so I can protect my neck more with the neck. Got my ticket to Hawaii. Gonna go visit some friends over the holidays on my way to the Philippines for a wedding. And yeah, excited to keep moving on. I have spent about 2 months in Cusco and a month earlier in... No, wait. I've been in Cusco the whole time for 2.5 months, I think. And I would stay here the whole dang time forever. If there wasn't a 3-month limit of living in Peru, I don't know, I might just stay here. Cusco is it's good there are 3-month limits in so many countries, because otherwise I would have probably settled down to live like 20 countries ago. It's so easy in so many countries for me to find like this perfect spot. And especially in Cusco, where I can hike everywhere. It's so easy to hike here. The weather's so comfortable. The food is so good. The people are so cool. There's so many great things here. It'd be easy to settle down here, but gotta continue on. I guess there's the wedding I have to get to anyway. That'll be interesting. I get to wear a, what's it called? Bacolod? No, that's the name of the town. There's a cool traditional Filipino dress shirt that I'm looking forward to buying and wearing to the wedding. It's like a nice button-down shirt with traditional designs on it that I think is going to look pretty cool. Oh, so I was getting a link for somebody from my podcast, And usually I just type into Google or whatever my podcast name and it pops up, and then I choose the whichever episode I need. But this time, an AI search result popped up and said, "Bit of a Rambler are the stories of Kai, a traveler, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, whoa, because it's the first time I've been familiar enough in the Google search results that it can generate an AI paragraph about me. So that was kind of cool and mildly disconcerting. AI is really just such slop. I really dove into it. I was interested in AI LLMs, and they're just not, they don't give good information. They give some words and then they fill in the blank with words that sound correct but do not have to be correct. So I'm not huge. I switched to DuckDuckGo so it doesn't have a default AI search answers, which I switched to that years ago, but they're still not super big on AI. Although if you want to, you can click for AI assist on DuckDuckGo. It's your choice. Anyway, I thought that was really funny that AI answered about my podcast. Okay, the Johnny Warwicker spy series of movies. Pretty good, the first one. The first one was good. The second one was one of the worst. Just terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It was so boring and meandering compared to the first one. And then the third one was fun, but still felt a little dumbed down, even though it was all back in Britain. Spy movies, I don't even want to talk about them. The first one was funny enough to watch, and Rachel Weisz is fantastic. The second one, I was like, oh no, and it was terrible. And then the third one was fine, and it ended well, but it was a little boring compared to the first one that had good writing. I got a massage. There was an outdoor business fair going on outside the university, and after I ate my sandwich, I stumbled upon this fair, and I was walking around. There was an outdoor massage chair, and I was like, oh, that's funny. And I've never done that before. And then my brain was like, hey, you've never done that before. And I was like, oh yeah. And I never had an massage from Peru either. So I went over and asked, and it was $4, and I strapped in and I got a massage, and it was very comfortable, totally worth $4. Neck massage, shoulder massage, the whole back massage, and butt massage. They knee your glutes also. And then they use this massage machine and just do a quick thing, and then they do another quick shoulder and neck massage. But it was a good 20 minutes probably. And yeah, very comfortable. It was just a very nice massage, and I was very happy. And I said thank you. And I forgot my hair tie on the table when I had taken it off. Oh, because it was a head massage too, which is bomb, which is the best. And she ran over and gave me the hair tie. I did give her a tip of 5 soles, which apparently was very nice. And but then afterward, I was walking around all chill and relaxed from this massage, and one of the drunkest people I have seen in years, maybe because I live outside of the tourist center, but he could not stand up. His hair wasn't quite disheveled. He looked a bit fancy. He was wearing a fancy suit jacket and all this stuff. And but his eyes were not connecting with the world around him. But he saw me and locked on. He was like, hey, I'm Diego or whatever, and held out his hand. And he spoke very good English, so I talked to him, but he couldn't remember what he was saying one sentence to the next. He was waiting for his girlfriend, is the story I got, and they were going to go to a bar, and did I want to go with them? Now, I've been being pretty healthy lately with not drinking, just taking a break from drinking again, so I declined. Otherwise, I totally would have done that. I would have gone with him and his girlfriend, who he was waiting for her to get dressed or something. She lived in the dorms at the university. But that would have been a difficult evening to stumble through because it was barely 6 p.m. and he was wasted. He could not stand up straight for any length of time. He kept falling back on his ankles. Like he leaned close in when he was talking. He was just schnockered. So it was okay. I sidestepped that social invitation. I found out that my favorite supermarket, La Canasta, is not in Lima. So I had to get all the smoked ribs now because I don't know if the supermarkets are going to have as good smoked ribs as they have in La Canasta. Maybe I should get ribs today for the last time, actually. That would be pretty good because I like them. That's the whole reason. I don't know. I'll think about it. I've had a bunch. They're great. I don't need them. But I am sad that there's no La Canasta in Lima because it's like the local supermarket. And it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the first one I went to, so I feel some kind of connection to it. Oh, I went on a hike. I went on a walk down this like very nice walkway they have here in Cusco on one of the main streets, Cultura, Via de la Cultura, whatever, Culture Street. And very long street, but in the middle of the lanes of traffic, there's a very wide, like 20 feet wide pedestrian lane and bike lane that you can walk down. And one day I just decided to walk as far down as I could because I have time. And I liked walking down that road. So I just went. And when I was walking, it was all good. I saw new businesses and it was an interesting walk. And then before I got to the end of the road, but like maybe a couple miles down, my Bluetooth started cutting out. And that is weird because it basically never has before or very rarely has before. But here, no matter what I did, no matter where I positioned the phone, the Bluetooth just kept cutting out. And I was like, dang. And I just kept walking because I didn't know what was going on. And then on the walk back, I realized there was a huge like prison. No, wait, it wasn't a prison. It was some huge government building. And I realized that my Bluetooth was getting blocked anytime I walked by that building. Now, I was like a football field away or more from that government building. So I wasn't exactly close, but walking by it, definitely it was that building, always blipped up my Bluetooth. So they have some kind of Bluetooth blocker there, and I got caught in it. So I don't walk that far down Avenida de la Cultura anymore because I don't want my Bluetooth to blip out. But I thought that was really weird. And when I passed by it, there was like another part of town down there. And when I passed by the building and was like 100 meters past, there was no problems with the Bluetooth. I thought it was that night there was a huge dust storm and lightning storm. And I was like, oh, it must have been that interference. But I found out when I went back the next day, I paid a lot of attention when it started cutting out again on a clear day. And I noticed this government building, this large government building on the north side of Cultura. And I think that's what's doing it. I think they're blocking my tunes and podcasts. So that was weird, but kind of cool. Okay, I went to Singrenacocha. I went to Lake Singrenacocha. Singrenacocha means mermaid in Quechua. Gosh, that's probably a whole episode by itself also. Yeah, that's going to take up a ton of time. So I'll probably make that into a full episode, but that was awesome. That was a 3-hour bus ride. Found a guy to drive me over to the town for like 20 minutes and then walked to this crazy lake. Then there was a hailstorm. Yeah, go listen to the Singrenacocha episode if you want that full story, because that was pretty interesting. Tons of alpacas, little creatures. I don't know what they were. Yeah, I'll have to do a whole episode about that because that'll take a long time to talk about. But if you're in Peru, whatever you do, if you're like, man, I want to go explore all the stuff Peru has to offer, Lake Singrenacocha is about as beautiful a place as I have ever seen. And it's higher. It's at like 15,000 feet or 16,000. So it's pin drop silent in those mountains. And there's nothing over there. It's wild. It's just all lichen. It's so cool. So cool. Glacial mountains. Great place. Great hike. That was an all-day trip, and that was so worth it. Oh, the crazy guy on the way back. Yeah, you should go listen to that episode because it'll just take too long to talk about here. This is for the wrap up of the weeks. But I did go to Lake Singiranacocha. It's incredibly turquoise, bright blue, like no water you've ever seen, and all the colors sort of shift together. Amazing. Sorry, I punched the mic. Oh, there are a lot of Christmas tree mountains here. I see a whole bunch of Christmas tree looking trees on mountains in strict rows. Strict rows, and there's hundreds of them on each face of the mountain. So I guess those are tree farms, because you know what, they had Halloween, so they probably have Christmas here also. And yeah, maybe they really are tree farms. I noticed them on mountainsides, but when I went out to climb Lake Singiranacocha, a whole bunch of the mountains out there just had hundreds, maybe thousands of Christmas trees just going all the way up the mountain. It was pretty cool to see. Just a bunch of Christmas trees, especially close to Christmas. Glacier Rock, there's a whole bunch of mountains. That was crazy. My other friends are getting married. My Filipino friends I mentioned. Well, one's Chinese, one's Filipino, and they already have a kid, but they're like, let's do this marriage thing too, baby. And so they're going to do that, and I get to flip-flap over and check out the wedding. Yeah, I'm excited about going over there. And it was funny. Someone sent me a message before I climbed to that Lake Singiranacocha, but because it's in the middle of nowhere, there's no signal. So I didn't have any signal walking up there. And then when I walked back down, my friends who are having a wedding in the Philippines messaged me and told me the dates and all this and were coordinating with me. And then my longtime friend from Beijing, one of the oldest friends I have from Beijing, announced to me while I was out of signal range for the only 3 hours I've been out of signal range, or 5 hours, whatever. The whole time I've been in Peru, they messaged me while I was at Lake Singiranacocha to tell me that she was getting married. She was very excited about that. And we talked, and then I got another message from another wedding guy, actually, who's having a wedding later next year. And he was confirming with me. I haven't talked to him in months. So I just got a flurry of messages while I was at Mermaid Lake, and for the first time in a long time, been completely out of signal. That's happened a few times. I mean, just being out of signal in Cusco, I guess, because on top of Picol, actually, no, Picol had signal, but on top of Huanacauri, there was no signal. You go into a bunch of mountains at 16,000 feet, signal kind of drops off, especially if you're inside a valley or something. Oh, and the Chinese friend who's getting married, she's having a baby too. So she was pretty excited to tell me about that. And yeah, that was my trip. I went on this crazy, crazy hike to a magical lake and had a whole bunch of messages when I got off the mountain. That was pretty funny. I watched the movie Jill Rips maybe a day after that or something. Crazy weird movie with Dolph Lundgren that I could not believe was made in 2000. When I was watching the movie, I was like, this is so weird because he looks old, but this movie's clearly from 82. It's clearly a 1980s movie. Maybe 1990, but probably 1982 or something. And then I checked it after I watched it, and it said 2000. And I was like, are you insane? That The Matrix came out in 1999. This movie looks like it could have been almost in the 60s, to be perfectly honest, except I know Dolph Lundgren couldn't have been alive back then. He wouldn't have been that old back then. But I was blown away. This is the oldest looking movie made in 2000 I have ever seen. No comparison at all. It is nuts. It looks old and made for TV. Fun to watch. Interesting performances. The story made zero sense. No talk of a pivotal character, her mom, that they've talked about the whole movie, arrives at the house. You don't see her face. She interacts with other people, so she's real. And then a character's like, oh yeah, that was Irene's mom. But Irene's mom is supposed to have been killed 30 years ago. And nobody questions that line in the movie. It just shows up. Oh yeah, that was Irene's mom. This dead character who's pivotal, and the entire movie revolves around her death. And never explained, never, doesn't make any sense. So many things that movie made zero sense. It was such a bizarre movie and funny enough to watch most of the time because it's so freaking weird. Yeah, good movie. Let's end on a sandwich because there's this sandwich place that I like, and I got the hamburger patty. They do the mixed meat here, so they don't do like just a steak patty. They do ground beef with a whole bunch of tasty spices and vegetables mixed in, so it's a lot softer than regular ground beef or just strictly only ground beef. And there's more flavors inside, and it crisps up better when you fry it. It's great. And I got one of those, and then I got two of those, and then I went back and I got my monster sandwich. And I posted about it on Lemony. I said, I'm not messing around this time, guys, because I had already posted my other sandwiches, which were popular. But this time I went there and I was like, I'm going to need everything. I need a beef patty. I need the calabresa sausage. I need a fried egg. I need cheese. And I need my cabbage, onions, ricotta, and ají sauce. Or ají and ajo. Ajo is garlic and ají is the ricotta pepper cream sauce. And I got all that stuff, and it was a monster sandwich. My stomach was like, good God, man, this is crazy. And I'm happy. I was happy with that sandwich. I ate it. It was perfect. It tasted so freaking good. And Lemmy was pretty excited to hear about that sandwich also and see it. Okay, there's other cool stuff I will talk about soon. And I'm excited to talk about. It's Christmas time, that's a hint. So I will catch you on the flippity flops. Thank you so much for listening. It's so fun doing this thing still. And I'm looking forward to when I'm like 90 and go back to listen to these stories and be like, who is that? So you can talk to me at bitofarambler@gmail.com or bitofarambler on Lemmy and Blue Sky. Hope your day's going well. I will talk to you soon.